Everyone, we are finally back for another video on the channel. We have got the new camera up on the tripod, and I think it's been half a year since we've done a sit down video. Content is finally returning. Everything is going back to the normal schedule. I'm gonna just try and absolutely pump out content as much as possible to make up for the last 6 months that I've just completely missed. Today we're gonna be going through my round 4 AFL tips. It is gather round this week, so keen to get into some of the games. And look, I have not started this season off too well with my footy tips. However, yeah, we're going to be going through my round 4 tips and predictions. If you guys do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we'll get straight into it. So obviously the first game of gather round is on the Thursday night at Adelaide Oval, 7:40 PM local time, 8:10 PM Vic time. It is the Crows taking on the D's, and the D's are coming off a really impressive performance against Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, and the Crows are coming off 3 straight losses. D's have won their last 3. They're obviously 3-1. The only game they've lost this year was against Sydney in opening round, which was 4 weeks ago, and who really cares about opening round? Doesn't really matter. Although the Crows are 0-3, playing in front of their home crowd, who, if there's like a time for the Crows to pick up their first win, I reckon it is this game. I remember a few years back how they were absolutely underdogs to go up against Melbourne, and they were at Adelaide Oval and they did get the job done, the Crows. Obviously that was in 2022, so I'm not taking anything from that. I'm going to be backing in the D's to get this one done by 21 points at Adelaide Oval, considering they're just coming off a fresh win straight just last Saturday night against the Power at Adelaide Oval. They've obviously playing some good footy at the moment, the D's, and I feel like the Crows, like yes, they're 0-3. If there's a time to break that losing streak, it is definitely this Thursday night at their home deck in such a big round of footy. I just don't think they're capable of beating such a high quality side in Melbourne. Next game of the round is at Norwood Oval on the Friday evening. Twilight game, 5:10 PM start local time, 5:40 PM start Vic time. It is the Lions and North Melbourne. Both teams 0-3. Can you absolutely believe that? The Lions are 0-3 after making the grand final last year. Even Collingwood knocked them off at home, which was absolutely insane. However, I feel like this is where they finally break their losing streak, the Lions, and they should get back into some good form come the next few weeks, and this will be the game that definitely kickstarts that momentum. I'm going to say 56 points. They're going to absolutely turn it on against the Roos, who have had a pretty poor start. The Roos have had some pretty positive signs, pretty much just in that one game against Freo in that first half, until we came back and pretty much killed them in the second half. They're just looking really lost at the moment, North, and I feel like Brisbane, they're going to have to get their first win on the board 100% this Friday evening at Norwood Oval, because if they can't beat the Roos and they're in for a bloody long season, I feel like they'll get it done quite comfortably by 56 points. Friday night at Adelaide Oval, we have the Port Adelaide Power taking on the Essendon Footy Club at 8:10 PM local time, 8:40 PM. God, I just realised I've been saying all the times in local time when it's obviously Vic time. However, Friday night footy, Port v Essendon, I feel like this is actually going to be a really good clash, because Port coming off a loss at Adelaide Oval versus Melbourne. Essendon coming off 2 straight wins. Essendon coming off the comeback win against the Saints last week at Marvel Stadium, where Jake Stringer put on one of his maybe 5 game masterclasses he does every season. Maybe has about 5 breakout games, Jake Stringer, and this was one of them. And Port Adelaide didn't look, honestly, that great against Melbourne. They just really weren't in there from the start. Yes, they did open with the first 3 goals of the game, but after that, then they conceded the next, 3 or 4, and then it was just sort of Melbourne having that upper hand against them pretty much for the rest of the night after those first 3 goals of the game. And Essendon don't play too bad of a brand of footy at the Adelaide Oval, so this has got me thinking that potentially Essendon could cause an upset here. I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to go Port Adelaide to get this one done. I'm going to say 12-point margin, 2 goals, I reckon. However, I feel like this could definitely be one of a few upset games that happen this week in the gather round. Saturday afternoon, 1:30 PM Vic time, we've got the Eagles taking on the Sydney Swans at Adelaide Hills. This could get very, very ugly if they are not careful here. the Eagles. However, obviously Sydney coming off that loss against Richmond, where they did put on an absolute clinic at the MCG on Easter Sunday, did the Tigers. And the Swans, they were sort of getting dominated from the start, and they definitely did not deserve to win the game. Like, the Tigers were just all over them from the get-go, and I feel like definitely did deserve to get it done, in which they did in the end. However, nonetheless, like, the Swans have been such a good side already this season. What are they, 3-1? That was their first loss of this season. Just on the Sunday, just gone. And versing the Eagles, who are 0-3, I think it's quite self-explanatory how I am going to be tipping the Swans to get this one done in the end. Remember last time these two teams played, it was not very good of a look for the Eagles, as they did play at the SCG. And the Eagles conceded 205 points and lost by, what was it, like 179 or 180 something. So, that is definitely something to forget for West Coast fans. However, obviously, nonetheless, I'll be tipping the Swans to get this one done. I'm going to go a 40-point margin on the dot. Honestly, if you're an Eagles fan, you would take a 40-point loss against the Swans. And here we go. This is, I reckon, one of the games of the round. We have the undefeated Dockers taking on the undefeated Blues at Adelaide Oval, 4:20 p.m. Vic time, twilight footy at Adelaide Oval to start off the double header on the Saturday. If you guys are new to the channel, I am a Freo fan myself, and we have had a quite a rivalry in the past with the Carlton Footy Club. Obviously, Jack Nunes and who was it, Mark Murphy back in 2019. We've had a bit of history. We've had so many close clashes. Our win last week against the Crows just was not convincing at all. However, 4 points is 4 points. You'll take it when you can, and well, we just obviously can. We kept them to 34 points, which is a positive. But then on the negatives, we only scored 69, and to win a game with a score of 69 is pretty. Oh God, how are you going? But I mean, yes, obviously we did pick up the 4 points in the end. The Blues coming off an absolute smashing victory against North Melbourne on the Good Friday. Look, everything is saying to tip the Blues. However, maybe with a bit of biasness and with a bit of confidence, I'm backing in the Freo Dockers to get this one done. I haven't thought of a margin just yet. I'm going to say we get it done by 5 points in an absolute cliffhanging finish. Look, will it happen? I'm really not sure. I am actually confident coming into this matchup, but we have to bring our best footy to the table, and the Blues are definitely, obviously, very capable of getting this done, and they do have the favourites to get it done as well. They've got the favourites, they've got the odds, everyone's tipping them. However, I'm going to back us in, and I'm not going to be disappointed if we lose this game, obviously, but I feel like we do have a genuine sniff. Coming up after the Freo game is at Adelaide Oval again, just a few hours later, the double header. It is the Dogs and the Cats. And this is going to be a really interesting contest. Last time these two teams played, it was, I think, in the last round of the season in 2023, just last year, at GMHBA, and the Dogs were coming off two horrendous losses in a row, one to Hawthorn, one to West Coast at their home deck, and they managed to somehow knock off Geelong at GMHBA, but the week prior they couldn't do it against West Coast. I have backed in the Dogs to get this one done all the way through the week so far, until I'm filming this. However, I'm just thinking about how good Geelong play at Adelaide Oval. It was just the other week where they knocked off the Crows there, and Geelong have a really good record, not only just against the Bulldogs in general, but also at Adelaide Oval. So I'm going to be backing in Geelong to get this one done. I'm going to go with the favourites. However, it's going to be quite annoying if the Dogs do get up, because I've sort of had them locked in for my tips for the last few days. However, I was just thinking before, like, my whole brain is just telling me to go to the Cats because of how good they have been in the past, not only against the Dogs, but also at the venue that they're playing at as well. Coming into the Sunday games now, we have the Suns and the Giants at Adelaide Hills, 12:30 p.m. start. The Suns have shown some, well, sort of promising signs in the first few weeks. They obviously knocked off the Tigers up at home. Round 3, they did have a bye, and so did the Giants, so they're both coming off a break. However, the previous result before the bye for the Suns was obviously the loss against the Bulldogs at Mars Stadium. The result before the bye for the Giants was an absolute smashing at Optus Stadium, where they knocked off the Eagles by 65 points in a pretty just dominant affair, I guess you can say. The Suns definitely haven't looked too bad. However, coming up against an undefeated, in form, probably the best team in the league at the moment, the Giants, I just don't think they're going to get this one done. But I feel like the Giants are just going to be way too strong in the end here. Obviously, being undefeated and being probably the best team in the competition, I don't see them sliding this loss against Gold Coast. I'm going to tip the Giants to get it done by 29 points in a pretty cruisy, controlling game. Richmond take on the Saints at Norwood Oval for a 3:20 PM start Vic time on the Sunday afternoon. I feel like this one's going to be a good game because the Saints are coming off a loss against the Bombers in which they did not play too great, and the Tigers coming off that absolutely phenomenal win against the Swans at home where they played really, really great from the get-go. From the start till the end, they just put on a clinic, the Tigers. And at Norwood Oval, I'm going to be backing in the Tigers to get this one done in an upset. They're coming off a great win. The energy's high in the group, and the Saints are coming off a pretty depleting loss against the Bombers where they were up all day. Going to back in the Tigers to get this one done by 19 points. A pretty comfortable finish in the end for the Tigers. However, obviously, the favourites are to the Saints, and the Saints genuinely should get this one done. However, I'm going a bit of an upset here, and considering what I saw on the Sunday with the Tigers, they played really well, and I feel like if they bring that footy again into this week, they should be able to knock off the Saints. And for the last game of Gather Round, we have the Pies and the Hawks. It is Guinea versus his old club, and what a game to finish off the Gather Round, starting at 5:10 PM Victoria time, that is, at the Adelaide Oval. The Pies and the Hawks. The Pies are 1-3. The Hawks are 0-3. Weighing this one up, obviously the Pies should get this one done. However, I'm a man of upsets, and I'm backing in the Hawthorn Football Club to get this one done by 6 points. I just feel like the Hawks, they're 0-3, and they played decent against the Cats at times, and then they sort of just dropped off and fatigue got to them. But they played decent against the Cats. Not good. They didn't play bad. They played just sort of average. The Pies obviously coming off a really impressive performance against the Lions in which they pretty much just smashed them. Like, the Pies were back to their 2023 selves last week, and that's the only thing that's obviously making me want to tip the Pies. But I love an upset here. I love an absolute upset. If you are new to the channel, I tip some bizarre goals sometimes. I'm going to go the winless Hawks get up against the 1-3 Pies at Adelaide Oval by 6 points. That's going to be it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Obviously, content is well and truly back now with the new camera vlogs. Going to be happening quite often. I feel like I'll bring back the weekly vlogs too, and then other content such as the weekly tips. Obviously, the weekly vlogs will be weekly. Try to get to at least one match day vlog a week, so hopefully can make them weekly as well. And then just little other bits and pieces of content, which may include, you know, live streams, live reactions, which I've still been keeping on top of over the last few weeks. Everything's going to be returning back to its normal schedule, which I'm so keen to get back on the grind and just to sit at my computer for hours each night and just bloody chip away at editing and just absolutely grind it out. Now that's obviously school holidays, lots of time to film and lots of time to produce some really good and entertaining quality content for all of you guys. Cheers for watching, everyone. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.